Happy holidays. Hudson and Scotty B Need, a therapist. I'm Hudson Hot, my partner, Scotty Blaisdell, and our resident therapist, Alan Wagner. You guys having a great turkey in your belly time? Turkey on your belly time. Where's that? Right, Scotty?
Yeah, exactly that. I did fried turkey again, and the house is still here.
That's one of the things I think you have to worry about when you do a fried turkey, right? Is torching
Right.
everything up, is what they say.
There's been enough scare videos out there that I knew how to take it cautiously and make sure it is completely thawed and completely dry. That's the important thing.
Alan took us to an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Oh, is it have a corral in the name?
That was on the list. We didn't get that far. We
Okay.
went to the third stop on our adventure. Alan?
Well, I don't want to take credit for this because this is really a Hudson spot. And she was like insisting that it's like the best spot in Wilmington. Everybody loves it. And it's a place called Casey's Buffet. And I will say it was really depressing, Scotty. Like just, I think there's something about the holiday that it should just be with friends and family. It shouldn't be at a restaurant.
So it was a bunch of people that didn't have that going on, so they all ended up there just looking around at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not really like a chicken foot or a chitlin or, those kinds of things. And so there was a lot of that in the buffet, which I think threw off the kids as well.
All righty.
It was
Yeah,
an interesting one.
it was interesting.
So, staying on interesting, I thought we'd get into something really interesting. We're going to talk about 16 fetishes you've probably never heard of. I know you're looking at me, Scotty, with regret.
You've brought this up as a potential topic several times. Are we going to go with this your way or Alan's way?
Okay, maybe a little of both. I'm going to explain some of these things that I've read on the list, but we do have an expert. So
Well, let's bring
we
him
have
into it
that.
because what is a fetish when it comes to the scientific or clinical definition?
When I think about fetishes, as a term, I think about paraphilias. And you're welcome to look that up if you're listening to this. But in psychology, in the DSM-5 or the DSM-4, you'll see a bunch of things under paraphilias, which have to occur for more than 6 months, and they have to be sort of unusual. I don't know which ones Hudson's going to go with, but I don't want to demonize people. I think we all have different sexual turn-ons, and I'm very sex positive as a person. So whatever it is, but if it's something that's unusual that involves other people, maybe unwillingly or inanimate objects, sometimes those would be called paraphilias, and people can definitely check those out. It's very interesting.
And that's something you should be treated for, right?
I think it's helpful
Yeah.
to talk to a therapist if you have unusual turn-ons. Something like I said that takes a lot of thought process that sort of inhibits your movements in life or your choices, and you find yourself perseverating on it a lot. And it's been going on for more than 6 months. Yeah, you should probably talk to a therapist if it's something that is causing you distress.
Okay, I'm going to read them. Scotty, you're going to try and figure out what it is, but Alan, you'll give us the exact answer to it. How's that? We can do
Okay.
like a little around the room. The first one, have you ever heard of this one, Scotty? Acrotomophilia.
No,
What would you think what would you think that is?
something to do with tones,
Okay.
music, sound.
So it's amputations. It's people who are turned on by amputations. And it could be something themselves, maybe amputating something on their own body, or possibly a turn on of someone else who is an amputee.
Wow. Okay. All right.
You guys wanted to know.
Yeah, well, one of
Okay.
us did.
Formicophilia. What's your take on that? What do you think?
People that love people dressed formally, like in tuxedos.
Oh, that could be something. I bet you that could be something.
That's
Alan?
not this. Do you want to know what it really is?
Yes.
It's people who are turned on by having insects crawl all over them.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Like having like putting bugs all over your body
No.
and being turned on by that. I know.
I
It's that's why it's in the manual. It's unusual, right? When you're using insects to help your libido.
okay. All right. That's number two. Number three. I might be saying this wrong. Amagophilia. I don't know. Maybe something that has to do with Italy.
I wish.
I have no idea. What do
It's
you got,
not.
Alan?
So agametophilia would be a turn on by either statues, mannequins, or other types of immobility.
I was close. I said Italy.
Because they have that in Italy.
They have those
Yeah.
statues with the big,
Well,
packages in the front, and people are always standing next to it. You know what I'm saying?
but it's the turn on of the immobile, like mannequins or statues and inanimate sort of objects that you're getting turned on where they're not giving it back.
Okay, going on to number 4. This one is olfactophilia.
Okay, I know it.
Mhm.
It's something to do with smells.
How do you know that? Is that
Because
something you're into?
olfactory.
Yep. Good answer,
No,
Scotty.
because I have an education. I know
So
what
do
some
I,
words
but
mean.
all right. So what is that one, Alan?
That one isn't actually a paraphilia, but as Scotty's right, when we look at different types of hallucinations, olfactory hallucinations are ones where people smell things that aren't there. That's not what this is. This is a sexual turn on by specific smells or scents.
Okay, but I can totally get that. Like when you smell an apple pie, for example, when you walk in, it might take you back to the time. And I'm not saying in a sexual way, but yeah, your sensories get overloaded and it reminds you maybe of a time like your grandma made an apple pie or something.
Or you watch the American Pie movie?
I guess so, because these are fetishes. We're not talking about grandma making apple pie, that's for sure.
No, we're not talking about that.
Okay. Mechanophilia.
Well, mechanical things.
Mechanicophilia. That's it. Mechanicophilia. Alan,
I'm actually not familiar with that one.
this is basically people wanting to date a Tesla.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's like machines and cars and things like that. 'Cause you hear about these Florida man stories or whatever.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, we're watching that. Are you watching that show?
No, but it's like that. We've done that on the radio forever.
I know we have.
Yeah, just people with cars and stuff. It's weird.
Okay. Number 6, plushophilia.
Well, again, plush gives us a clue, right?
Yep.
It has to do with the stuffed animals and stuff.
Exactly. It's actually being turned on by stuffed toys.
So it's different than a furry, right? What's the difference between a furry and the
Well, a furry is a person pretending to be a stuffed animal, which I don't think that one's in the manual yet. I'm sure it will be, and I think it's maybe there's something about the texture, or again, this is an inanimate thing. It's not a human. And I think
remember being a kid and hearing boys. Okay. And again, I'm sitting here with 2 grown men, but I heard that was like a thing for boys, like during puberty, like boys, getting it on with their stuffed animal. Any of that true? Scotty?
No.
No.
I wish Scott, honestly, if you could have only seen Scotty's face right now as I asked.
But again, there are people out there that is a sexual turn on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a thing.
Okay. I think we can all guess what this one, claustrophilia.
Oh, yeah, because I have claustrophobia, which is the fear of the small spaces and
Right.
it being contained. And I assume people like that, right?
Is that what that is, Alan? Like
Yes.
if they're in an elevator, like jam-packed in Manhattan with like 20
Correct.
people in it and they can't move, right?
Exactly.
Is that what their thing is?
It's exactly, it's being turned on by small spaces, like probably like enclosing yourself in a coffin or something, or some sort of a box, where you don't have a lot of room to move. And I guess maybe that powerlessness is the turn on of losing control.
This one apparently is very popular in Hollywood. Sitophilia.
Sitophilia. I love to sit down. I must have that. I think I have that. What is it?
Alan, do you know what it is?
I have never heard of that.
It is the arousal involving food.
Okay.
What?
I mean, if you think about it, everyone in LA is obsessed with their food and taking photos. I mean, geez, we went to a party last night and I was busy taking good shots of my food. You know what I'm saying? So that's
But we're not
LA.
talking about that, right? You're talking about another level.
Correct.
Right. I know.
Right.
So,
There's with couples, you think about Valentine's Day and like strawberries and feeding each other strawberries, maybe, or there is a way with another human, I think, in the movie 9.5 Weeks, if you guys know that one, where people can be turned on by food. And I definitely see that. That's not what we're talking about. I'm assuming this is a person alone with food, getting turned on by that food.
yeah, food doesn't do it for me. I've so changed my lifestyle, man. Okay.
I don't know. I love a good fried chicken.
Number 9 on the list is odaxylania. Odaxylania.
Yep. It's actually being turned on by biting people or being bitten. And there was a whole vampire craze. I remember where people are into that. But I know there's probably a lot of people listening to that. I mean, listening to this podcast right now, rather, that are probably turned on. Maybe they bite their partner or they like being bitten. But those little nips and things like that are part of the turn on.
So,
And
so nibbling, not like taking a
biting.
chunk out of somebody.
I mean, it's painful. I mean, it's the pain, I think, that is the turn on. It's like getting a
Oh,
tattoo or something. It's the turn on is the pain.
Number 10, nasophilia.
has something to do with your nose, and we already did the odo, whatever,
So,
the smell one.
yeah, it
So is
is.
it like
It's
that?
people who are turned on by noses.
Yes.
What I'm wondering, Alan, is it like the nostril, the size of the hole of your nostril? Like, what is it?
There's something, it's kind of like the foot fetish thing. There's something about a specific nose. But a part of the paraphilia thing is sometimes isolating individual body parts of a human, which again is taking the human out of it.
Wow.
Interesting.
I've never heard of that. I
Yeah,
mean,
I told you.
I've, because you always hear, are you a leg man or you a whatever? But there's some people that's looking at the nose and feeling those feelings.
Not often, but some,
I'm
yeah.
going to be so like now I'm going to be paying attention if people are staring at my nose.
Well, that must have been a real challenge for people during the pandemic.
Oh yeah, good
Oh,
point.
because they couldn't expose their face unless
Nobody
they were
could see, they
rebels.
couldn't see the noses. They just had to imagine,
Oh, that was probably even more of a turn on, having to use your imagination and visualize. I bet you he's got the nose. All right, moving on to fetish number 11, vorophilia. Scotty,
Nothing.
Alan,
This is a really crazy one, Hudson. I don't know where you found this, but vorophilia is the idea of one person or creature eating or being eaten by another, usually swallowed whole in one piece.
How does one practice this?
yeah. Okay, this
Is it just the imagining of it?
I
mean,
think
you could
this is
probably,
super psychological.
I mean, you
Honestly,
could probably swallow a goldfish, Scotty. You could probably, there's probably, if you're into that, there's probably small animals or small things that you could probably procure to either consume
I
yourself
think
and
it's a
bring inside of
fantasy.
you.
I don't think people are acting it out. I think it's their fantasy of doing it, possibly.
Whoa.
I don't. I mean, because
Or
that
just
that
imagining
that,
it. Yeah.
obviously, I'm going to assume because if it's a fetish, oh,
But
okay.
right, but watching an animal eating another animal and being turned on by that, yeah, that's or you yourself eating the whole animal. It's unusual.
Hemotololagnia.
So it has something to do with blood.
Yeah, blood, right, Alan?
Yes. So basically, you're saying it's team hematolagnia.
Yeah, hemotolagnia.
That kind of fits into the biting and that vampire craze of Twilight from a few years ago, where people were sharpening their teeth. Remember that? They were sharpening their canines so that they could have fangs. Well, it's basically drinking or looking at blood and
Ew,
being
this
and being
no,
turned on
no. That one
by
makes me
the
nervous.
consumption of I guess the internal fluids and blood. And a lot of times people, when you think about vampires, there is an eroticism to that whole thing. It's like the gothic aspect of it. So I think this one is something that probably leans more gothic. But yeah, there are people out there who are into blood.
Not me. Not me.
No, I think I have the
No,
opposite of that.
I am too.
Same.
Squeamish.
Number 13 on the 16 bizarre fetishes you probably have never heard about. Symphorophilia.
You love when you hear classical music at the symphony.
Alan?
Yes?
No, it's actually being turned on when you witness or you stage disasters like car accidents. So actually witnessing a car accident and being sort of, I guess, physically turned on by that, or actually enacting accidents or destruction type things to turn yourself on.
Wow. So it's not like we're all curious. If you
Yeah.
pass an accident, it's hard not to rubberneck, as they say.
Correct.
But you're talking about really feeling something beyond that.
Well, not just driving past an accident that's already happened. It's probably witnessing one vehicle crashing into another. And in a way, if there's something, I guess, potentially sexual about that, if you think about it, crashing into one, into the other. Most of us wouldn't link cars to sexuality, but a car accident to some, I guess, could simulate a sexual situation.
Ugh.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Eproctophilia. Scotty?
If, if procto. Okay. Well, I know what a proctologist is.
You're close.
It's somehow related.
Kind of. I mean,
You want
we're talking about the butt. And and I think that's where that comes from. So Scotty's on the right path. But it's actually being sexually turned on by flatulence. Like a person
Are you
farting,
kidding me?
the
This
escape
is
of
not a real thing.
it's a real thing. The escape of gas is actually the turn on, when a person farts. So you know how like people are always trying to not fart in front of their partners? If someone's into this, you should fart. Just let it go. They'll
Let it
Apparently, my
go.
wife does not have this.
No one that I
Women
know
do
of.
not.
I don't know anyone that's had this one, but
I don't know any woman that wants this in their life.
but it was big enough to make it into the manual. So it means that it's not just one person. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. Cratophilia.
Um,
How are you spelling that?
Crato philia. Cratophilia.
nope.
Alan?
I I don't know that one. I was thinking for a second, maybe cryophilia, which is ice or cold temperatures turning
No,
on.
this one is actually the arousal from displays of strength,
Hmm.
like bodybuilders or people who pick up things and it turns people on.
Okay.
Like furniture, movers who pick up heavy furniture. This is fetish number 16 and it's catotronophilia.
Uh,
I might have this one.
does it have to do with not cats? Tr- Tron's a video game. Cats, I don't know.
Alan, do you know what this one is?
I do. It's when you're turned on by mirrors or reflections of yourself. Yeah.
But I've always saw those, you go to those hotels that have the mirrors on the bed.
Yeah, exactly above the bed, right? Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
It makes
We looked
sense.
at a
Yeah.
house once that was for sale and the house had a mirror on the bed and I liked it just for that reason. I was like, wow, that's cool. So like, yeah, I'm kidding, but not really.
No, I mean, I think it plays into the people who film themselves. And I think there's something probably about watching yourself perform or watching yourself in sexual situations as a turn on.
Okay, so what out of all of those that we talked about, Scotty, which one would you think is the most common?
Uh,
If I had to jump in, I'd probably say the biting one. I think
yeah,
that
that was exactly the one I was about to say.
Yeah, I
But
would say
not
the biting,
biting, but like nibbling,
nibbling, like a little bite, because you
because
bring up both.
even back as a teen, the hickey thing or
correct.
whatever. The
Right. I would have said the same. Okay, we're all three on the same page. Are there any on here that are also bizarre, Alan, that you know about that we didn't touch upon?
There's clothing fetishism, people who are into certain types of lingerie or leather or latex. That's a more common one for sure. One that I find interesting, and you probably have seen this before, is diaper fetishism. And that's
Oh.
sort of like, sorry to laugh, but it sort of falls into the infantilism fetish, where it's like there's something turning you on about being a baby and regressing in that way.
Yeah, I don't
I
get
guess,
that.
yeah, you'd have to have depends, I guess, because they don't make diapers that big.
On the furry front, there was one I saw that earlier today. It was called forniphilia, turning a human being into a piece of furniture and actually incorporating that into the sexual experience.
Let me ask you this, Alan, going all the way back to the beginning. Are these things that need to be treated?
So on some of these, they're harmless in the sense of if you want to get turned on by food or you want to get turned on by temperatures or noses, those things are your own thing and they don't really affect others as much. But once you bring another person who's non-consenting into the equation, a mannequin, it doesn't matter, but a human being is a human being. And we can't forget that. We can't dehumanize people. And so I think in those situations, you do have to treat it because the last thing you want is to violate a human.
Is something like this something that can come on later in life? Like as say you're in a relationship and then one person starts to get turned on by something and the other person says, no, we're not going that route. How do you reconcile that?
Well, that's a good question.
I mean, look, I think I mean, if we go back to that biting one, for example, I've been in such, I don't like being bitten. And I don't like when it hurts. I'm not a fan of hickeys, and I'm definitely not a fan of people who leave teeth marks on me. And so when somebody is biting very hard, it may be a turn on for them, but it's not for me. And I think as a partner, we sometimes have to advocate what we feel comfortable with. And, you hope that the other person, it's not their primary source of sexuality, where the biting isn't like the deal breaker, but maybe it is. Look, I think from this podcast, guys, if somebody was just to go into the DSM-5, which is for psychology, and just look up paraphilias, you'll look up a lot of these ones that we just talked about and other ones too. And a lot of them probably do require counseling because if you're setting up a situation, that takes a lot of time to enact, whether it's like furniture things or you're really doing a lot in your room, having to purchase items or get mannequins, and all of this stuff takes time. And it's kind of like OCD, once something is inhibiting your ability to function in regular life with your friends, your family, your job, something that it starts to enact, a lot of time being taken from you, I think that becomes problematic no matter what it is in psychology. And so you have to look at some of these paraphilias and say to themselves, like, well, fine, a nose, not a big deal. If someone's into lingerie, cool. But if it's something that requires them to make a lot of purchases, in those situations, I would think it's hard to find those outlets, and it would require time, and it would probably definitely get in the way of your life. And that's when therapy can really jump in, because if it's getting in the way of your regular life and your happiness, then yes, sexuality is an important drive, but it shouldn't be something that supersedes everything.
Wow.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, it really is. 16 bizarre fetishes that we weren't aware of. Maybe we left something out. If you know of one that you want to share with us, send us a message. Say hello, drop in, but do make sure that you like and subscribe to our podcast. It doesn't cost you nothing, and it really could help us out. I'm Hudson Hot, my partner, Scotty Blaisdell, and our resident therapist, Alan Wagner. Thank you so much, guys. Hudson and Scotty B Need a therapist. Peace in the chicken grease.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.